Right, we will be doing a championship chase using one who at the time I would say was quite, well, was he underestimated? Was he underappreciated? I mean, I think to start with he was, but it is of course the incomparable Diamond Dallas Page is who we'll be using. This game, WCW nWo Revenge. Now, obviously everybody knows that the greatest wrestling game that was released on the N64 was definitely No Mercy. However, this was actually a game that I spent the majority of my time on. I remember my cousins having... The first introduction I had to wrestling games were stuff like, the WrestleManias, Royal Rumbles on the SNES. But the N64, now bear in mind that this would have been 1998, so I would have been 7 turning 8. No, sorry, I'll be 8 turning 9. So, obviously I played World Tour. Obviously there were other things like, at the time I think it was Warzone. Warzone and Attitude. WWF Attitude and WWF Warzone. But this, in terms of gameplay, now, was I more a WCW guy? I don't think I was more of a WCW guy. I watched both. I was again introduced to it by my cousins. But this game, Revenge, this was probably, apart from No Mercy, because of course everyone goes back to it the length of time, but the length of time, this was the predominant wrestling game I spent a lot of my childhood on. That was a very long-winded way of saying that, wasn't it? But, I mean, just the intro as well. Like, I mean, World Tour didn't have an intro like this. Neither did Attitude or Warzone. In terms of entertainment, imagine turning this on as a 9-year-old. Imagine turning it on as a 9-year-old. This was just the height of seeing what we saw on television just right in front of us. In a time where this was the graphics that we knew, we thought this was brilliant. I mean, wow. The actual guys in front of us, 3D, as blocky as they are now, I mean, looking back on it now, but does this game stand up? I mean, I know that it's blocky, but, and obviously the faces don't move, and it's graphically it's a little bit janky, but no, this was just amazing for us, especially a 9-year-old. But less chatting. Right, so we are doing a championship run. Oh, of course. Now, you didn't have the WCW Championship when you first turned it on, so we can't do that championship. But what we can do, that looks like Kurt Hennig, we will do a United States Heavyweight Championship run. And of course, as I said, we will be using... I mean, this guy was one of my favourites, even back in the day. Whatever. It's got a t-shirt. Should we do it in that DDP attire? Let's do that DDP attire. Now, remembering how these work, now you don't go straight up against the champion. I actually can't remember how many matches there were before you faced the actual champion. In terms of entrances as well, I mean, again, comparing to what was around at a similar time, I believe it was Warzone that came first. Now, you had entrances, but it wasn't as intuitive, it wasn't as interactive as this. I don't even know if interactive is the right word. Sting is the first guy. Okay, interesting. Now, bear in mind, it's been a very, very long time since I've played this, so forgive me if I'm a little bit rubbish. I also actually can't remember all the controls, which will be interesting. Actually, I'm back in the ring. I also thought as well, I mean, like I said, as blocky as this one looks, it's kind of... I would say that I preferred this to the... Oh, he's apparently bleeding already. I don't believe that. I preferred these graphics to that of Warzone. I don't know what it was. Oh, I don't think it's going to be already, but we'll have to try. I preferred this quite a bit to that of Warzone. I don't know why either. I mean, is it because this one looked smoother, whereas I didn't know if the other one was trying to be a little less. Like this is polygons. I mean, that's what it works on, you know. Oops. I don't even know how to describe the differences between the two. I mean, I know there was, but bang. How do you explain the differences between something like Warzone and this? I'm not actually sure. I don't think even smoother is the word, but for some reason I actually did prefer. I mean, I know as a kid I preferred this to. I mean, the button system as well. I mean, I don't know if people remember the control system that Warzone and Attitude had, but I mean, it's like, I don't know. You had to press. It was arcadey. You had to press a series of buttons just to do certain moves. Whereas this, I mean, it really is a sort of up. You know, A to grapple, up, choose your move. Right, let's see if we can get Diamond Cutter in here. Oh, bang! Diamond Cutter. I think he's a bit close to the ropes, but we'll try and pin him anyway. Oh no, he's getting up. Another Diamond Cutter will do it. Ready? Boom! Yeah, I mean, arcade, I mean, like I said, I know you came from games that everything was combinations, but... Ooh, 2 count, nice one, Sting. Too much to remember. I mean, and half the time you didn't know what you were doing. So how could it be enjoyable? You were concentrating so much on the buttons you were pressing and the sequences that how could you concentrate on anything else? You couldn't really. Whereas this was much simpler to have an enjoyable time on a game. Now, I don't think they had running grapples, so I'll do a running... Okay. Ooh, let's see what Corey moves he's got. Like, you were kind of limited, of course, because, you know, you had 4 light grapple moves, and you had 4 strong grapple moves. So the moveset were sort of limited, first one down. But as limited as they were in terms of the number of moves that you would do on this game, like I say, you could enjoy yourself a lot more. Oh yeah, point system, I forgot about that. You could enjoy yourself a lot more because you weren't concentrating so much on, you know, C up A, B direction to do like a suplex. Jim the Anvil Neidhart. So I kind of steered away from the WWF side of things until WrestleMania 2000, which I will do a video on, because again, that was another game that, I mean, the Akai guys, those were the systems. I did play stuff like Virtual Pro Wrestler. I can't remember if it was my cousin had a friend who... No, it was a friend of mine who had a weird copy of it. I just have a distinct memory of actually playing Virtual Pro Wrestler, or maybe seeing it, which of course was the Akai guys as well. But no, in terms of the Akai system, WrestleMania 2000, again, spent a lot of time on WrestleMania 2000. I didn't really spend much time at all on Warzone or Attitude at all because of that system. Like I said, you were concentrating so much on... Oh, I can't remember what reverse button was. You were concentrating so much. I'm just going on about it now, but it was just one of those things. That's okay, just a scoop slam. Pick him up. Boom. Take that knight out. But, I mean, the stories on Warzone... Was it Warzone? I think it was Warzone. The story where the TV system, and again, there was no interaction. Not like the stories you see today, or even on the SmackDown games, where you'd even have backstage segments or anything. You didn't see anything like that. You know, it was, I mean, basically championships, or I suppose what you can call a story mode of sorts. This is what it was, you know, facing a series of people, one after the other, to get to the champion. That's kind of what it was. So stories weren't really a thing. But no, like I say, WrestleMania 2000, which I will do a video on at some point after this, was again another game I spent a lot of time on. I mean, No Mercy. Like I say, there are many, I'm sure, would agree with me, who still to this day think that it is the greatest wrestling game. There's so many mods of it now as well. Diamond Cutter. Now don't stand up. Jesus, okay. I do apologise, DDP, the fact that he got straight up after a Diamond Cutter. Well, he is in danger now, so let's see. It's probably going to be a 3 count. But no, it was the Akai, like I said, it was the Akai system that I spent time on. Definitely the Akai system I spent time on. I mean, I suppose the arcade stuff I wasn't really, like I said, I played them because that's what my cousins had. But I was not old enough to really sort of appreciate the playing. I was a button masher, sorry. So, I mean, I suppose in terms of World Tour, I do have memories of, but in order, of course, it does go this one. Then, of course, WrestleMania 2000 came out, so of course I moved over to that one. It's almost like a Survivor mode, more so. I mean, that's probably a better way of describing it. Survivor. So yeah, WrestleMania 2000 I spent so much time on. I mean, WrestleMania 2000, I remember I used the Hardy Boys a lot in WrestleMania 2000 because at the time they were definitely 2 of my favourites. I mean, another one of my favourites, of course, which I'll probably use in WrestleMania 2000 because, I mean, in terms of just his work, and I just enjoyed watching him, and the fact that he was obviously one of the top guys even then. Triple H. Triple H I played a lot as at WrestleMania 2000, as well as, of course, creating my own, you know, as a kid, I created myself time and time again. But yeah, Triple H was my guy for WrestleMania 2000. I don't know, like I say, I don't know why DDP was kind of... I used Hogan a lot, of course, as I think probably a lot of people did. But yeah, DDP, Sting, who of course we defeated first. But no, I spent a lot of time playing through this particular game as Diamond Dallas Page. I think I liked the fact that obviously in TV land, you know, he'd been asked to join the NWO a number of times. I mean, I do own NWO t-shirts. I own both a Wolfpack red and black and Hollywood black and white. I had both. But of course the NWO kept trying to recruit him, and he was the only one that sort of stood up to them, because eventually, as much as Sting did in the initial stages, not join the NWO, of course he joined the Wolfpack in the end. So it didn't negate any of the story that came before. It was still very enjoyable to watch. But was he the same when he joined the Wolfpack? It wasn't the same as DDP. He literally just turned him down. He was not going to join them, and he went up against them every time. That was a particular Monday Nitro, I think it was on. I remember he put the shirt on. Oh no, didn't even do a diamond cutter. He put the t-shirt on, but then I think he diamond cutted Hall or Nash, one of them, and then ran up into the crowd. And again, I remember that. I remember him doing that, and I remember looking at it going, that was just brilliant. It was difficult at the time to pick a favourite between WCW and WWF. Because, like I said, I watched both of them. I would say in terms of what was going on, I mean, DX and NWO, I mean, how can you sort of differentiate between the two, really? I do remember watching when DX invaded, and of course, whoever it was, WCW closed the garage door, didn't let them in. No, I can't. You know what? I'm not even going to try and pick, because I enjoyed both of them, and they, for each of what they were different products. They each did different things. Very enjoyable, either of them. I mean, it was a weird time in wrestling as well, because at that time, which changed a little bit afterwards, it was cool to be a wrestling fan. You know, everyone I knew were wrestling fans. I suppose, like I said, I'd been sort of introduced to professional wrestling by my cousins, but it was cool. You know, the DX job, the NWO, everyone wanted to be a part of the NWO. It was the coolest thing that was happening in terms of that set of people. You know, I wouldn't call us nerds even then, because it was, like I said, it made wrestling cool. It wasn't the... There were some larger than life characters. I mean, you had people like, the Demon, of course, well, that was a deal that they did. But, you know, DDP, Nash, Hall, Hogan, you know, Randy Savage. I mean, I'm just naming people that were WWF guys that moved over. But, I mean, people like Billy Kidman, Rey Mysterio, even Tig Guerrero, of course, who... I mean, I obviously was introduced to him through WCW. I know he obviously he did a lot of the Mexican say, so as Rey Mysterio did back in the day as well. But oh, I see what, let's get a diamond cutter. Alright, let's get this, there we go. Boom. Feel the bang. I think as well, now I can't remember if it, oh. That's twice that's happened now. I was just about to say, sorry, because it popped into my head. I think on these Akai systems, if you pinned somebody when you had a special, I think it just proved my point mid-thing, unless it was because it was running out. I was going to say that I thought that if you had a special and you pinned somebody, I thought it wasn't possible for them to kick out. That's obviously not true, because we've just seen that it's not. However, no, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I remember that wrong. Maybe that's one of those Mandela effect things. How I remembered it that way, but it wasn't actually true at all. He keeps getting this. I don't remember the game engine being so. Oh. Alright, Spirit Bar's not so bad anymore. I can't remember what the reverse button is. I think it is the same as pick him up, but maybe it's a timing thing. I remember being a lot better at reversals on No Mercy. I don't think the timing window for the reversals was quite so tight, if that was what it is. 2 count again. Again, I can't remember if the game engine got more difficult as the opponents went through. Is it just because of that? Is it because I'm approaching the champion that it gets a little bit more difficult? Because I do remember that if I lose, I don't think you carry on from where you were. You have to start again if you lose. Oh dear. But I mean, in terms of like this game, I mean, these were the games that I think a lot of people, probably my age, this was their introduction to wrestling games. Like I said, I mean, I say proper introduction because, again, I don't think stuff like WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble one on the SNES, I don't think they count. Because if you're talking about games where you actively, purposely chose what you did, you know, knew what you were doing, and actually enjoyed it for the playable experience, more so than just, you know, button mashing as a kid. So I would have thought that World Tour probably as well. I will include World Tour, even though it was, you know, like I said, a little bit. I mean, World Tour was out when I was 6, 7 years old, whereas this, you know, 8, 9 years old. I'd say 8 or 9, especially in the gaming world, is where you first sort of start to get your first cognitive, your own pattern, own cognitive. What am I looking for? Own cognitive likes and dislikes. You sort of start to form your own personality in terms of gaming and what you like. I mean, for instance, like I played things like GoldenEye. I even played stuff like Doom and stuff on the PC, Quake, things like that. But I enjoyed these more. I was definitely more a wrestling game fan. But what's his back special? I don't know. Oh. So he's standing up again. That's happened a lot. I do apologise, Mr. Diamond Dallas Page, that all of these opponents are kicking out. Well, no, not kicking out of your finisher, but standing straight up. It's weird. Right. So that was... I can't remember who the second one was. I think it was Riggs, was it not? So that's 1, 2, 3. I can't remember how many matches there were before the champion. I do like as well that they get points as well. Right, so Kevin Nash. Interesting. Kevin Nash versus Simon Dallas Page. I was actually just talking about this a second ago, wasn't I? Come on, DDP, let's do our thing. Boom. But there's not much else I can really say about the games in general. They pretty much were what you see now. But of course, combinations of matches you could do, endless. Like I say, I can't remember having to unlock the WCW Championship. I don't remember that being a thing. Oh yeah. Oh, so how did I do that then? How did I drag him? Like I say, I can't remember any of these controls. I mean, the controls are pretty much the same throughout all the Akai games, apart from them adding in certain things, like running grapples became a thing. I don't think they introduced that in WrestleMania 2000. I think that was actually introduced in No Mercy, but then No Mercy introduced a lot of things. There is no backstage area in this game. If you did Irish whip them through the small entranceway up there, which is obviously the secondary programmed set, you don't actually see the actual thing that they actually enter from. They run into it for a couple of seconds, and then they run straight back out again. I think that was the same on WrestleMania 2000, but we will check that when I do come around to playing it. So, apart from adding features, the controls pretty much stayed the same in all of the Akai games. But then, of course, it was easy to remember. I mean, this is years after this, of course, but I remember playing the SmackDown games when they decided to change the bang controller settings, and it did take a while. Of course, they were incorporating different things. Oh, he's reversed. Interesting. They should. Oh, that's a shame. I thought I had just enough special meter left to go to him to do the whole bang hit the floor thing. Yeah, so the fact that all the Akai games across a number of years were always the same, again, especially for kids. I mean, my learning of controls was probably a hell of a lot better back then than I would be to remember now, especially obviously not using an N64 controller. But obviously mapped out in a certain way, so hopefully all the buttons are as close to in the right place as they physically can be. So yeah, controls. I mean, what else can I say about this? The Akai system was just really good. So good that it spanned across. Hang on, so it was World Tour, this one, WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy, the 2 virtual pro wrestling games. There was also some Japanese ones. What was it? Toucan. Oh, I can't remember what it was called. Toucan something. They were, of course, the Akai system as well. There were talks. Now, I've not played the new AEW game, but I remember when they were first sort of developing it, they said they were going to do something very similar to this game engine, where the controls would be similar. I wonder if they did, because it was a system that everyone liked so much. Now, not that, I mean, once you got your head around stuff like the SmackDown vs Raw or the SmackDown games, which are interesting ones to actually mention, because by the time No Mercy had come out, of course we did have SmackDown on the PlayStation. Well, SmackDown 1 and SmackDown 2 on the PS1, and of course Just Bring It, the third one, was on the PS2. But feel the bang, Kevin Nash. And we'll pin you again with this. No, you see he's getting up again. That has happened in every match, which is kind of weird. They always need 2? We'll pin him now anyway. It should be a 3. I mean, his spirit bar is low enough. Now I'm trying to now I'm trying to remember release dates. I think SmackDown, the first one, I think was 2000. I think. Which would have meant that SmackDown 2 was 2001. I mean, that sounds about right. Or maybe a year, maybe 99 and 2000. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head without looking it up. But again, the differences. Like, for instance, I mean, one thing that comes to mind is the wrestler videos. On the N64, now I don't know if it was a cartridge issue opposed to disc on PlayStation, but you didn't get a proper entrance video on No Mercy. I mean, I know you don't obviously on this one, but this was way before that. When you did, but SmackDown you did. You actually got in the background. You didn't see the entranceway on SmackDown or SmackDown 2 actually. Or did you on SmackDown 2? No, you didn't on SmackDown 2 either. But you did get their fully proper played entrance video in the background. Again, I don't know if it was a video issue, graphics issue. No, I don't know what the difference was. But again, that's one of the differences that comes to mind. Let's try and do a submission. Oh, okay, that's good enough. Obviously, they looked a lot different. Whereby N64 kind of kept it was blocky, still blocky. Create a superstar in SmackDown and SmackDown 2. I remember being, my creator wrestlers looked terrible. I don't know if it, again, graphically in terms of actual in-ring, this looks crisper than what SmackDown and SmackDown 2 looked. I mean, crisper, I think I can't think of the right vernacular, but crisp, clear like this, whereas SmackDown and SmackDown 2 were very, I don't want to say blurry, but it was messy. Obviously the textures were obviously used differently or programmed differently, but it did look very kind of, I don't even know what the word is, but I'm sure if you actually look at a side by side between SmackDown and something like No Mercy, you'll see what I mean. I wonder if every time I do the toggle for the special meter, I wonder if that's why they stand up on that. See, again, he's standing up. I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. Anyway, like I said, if you look at a side by side, you'll see exactly what I mean. But again, moves wise, on a PlayStation run, I believe it's triangle, whereas on an N64 it's C down to run. Again, switching between, I mean, this is what I meant earlier about being able to sort of interchange between controls a lot better as a kid, because you'd be switching between SmackDown and No Mercy with completely different control variations, apart from the D-pad, of course. I mean, grapple was it in the same? No, because grapple on the SmackDown was a circle, which of course N64 didn't have. N64 only had A and B, whereas of course PlayStation had your X, circle, triangle, and square. So I think in terms of controls, I mean the PlayStation was a little bit more versatile because it had obviously more. I mean, they had the bumper buttons as well. I don't think. I mean, at the time you didn't have L1 and L2. You only had, the shoulder buttons, same as the N64. But having more active buttons on the actual controller face, I'm guessing would have made it a lot easier to sort of spread out the controls. Having A and B on their own for the Nintendo 64, I actually don't know why that was chosen as a. I think it does get harder as you get closer to the champion. I'm wondering if Conan's the last one before I actually see Kurt Hennig. because he's quiet. Let's knock him out the ring for a bit. Ooh, my timing was really bad on that. Yeah, sorry. So it was the controls would have been able to be much more versatile. I'm also not sure why Nintendo decided to do that, because on the SNES, of course, you had the 4 buttons and the 2 bumpers. Z on the wrestling games, the trigger button underneath on an N64 controller, did nothing on the wrestling games. It was completely redundant. I don't think it's going to be. No, I didn't think so. But I wonder why. What the choice was to change between the 4 face buttons to A and B on their own, and then C buttons. Because I mean, C buttons do. I mean, obviously, C buttons, sit up, get in and out of the ring. They obviously did do certain things. But in terms of the grapple system, they don't help the grapple system. They don't help the move system. I'm not. I mean, like I was literally saying earlier that the ease of the controls for the Acolyte for this game and others were really good. I'm just trying to work out the differences, really. I mean, I was lucky enough to be able to sort of, I was cross gaming person. I had Nintendo and I had Sony, so I was insanely lucky in that regard to be able to sort of experience most. I mean, like I say, I can't go too much into stuff. I mean, I had a Sega. How much I remember it in terms of games I played on it, Sonic obviously comes to mind. But in terms of anything else, I also actually didn't play any of the games like Lion King or Aladdin or anything like that on my Sega. I actually played them on a computer. There was lots of crossover between what was on a computer at the time and stuff like SNES, and both, in fact, the Mega Drive and the SNES had very, very similar library to each other, as well as the computer. The only real difference was Sony, but of course, Sony is a byproduct of Nintendo accidentally created their own competition. There was supposed to be something that was going to be called, I believe, the Sony CD. I think it was called the Sony CD, or was going to be called the Sony CD. It never happened because Nintendo stepped out of the deal. But I think having it been developed up until a certain point, I can't remember how many matches there are between me and the champion. So they stepped away from the deal, which inadvertently Sony said, well, I think as far as I think this is correct. They said, well, we'll just carry on. Harlem Heat Booker T. Now this, I tell you what, this is nostalgic. Harlem Heat Booker T. The guy, I remember him. My first interaction with him as a TV personality was him in Harlem Heat with his brother Stevie Ray. Like I say, I can't remember what the reverse button is. I think it is R. I'm not sure if it's because the again, the timing window is incredibly small. So he's doing it. Yeah, so I can't. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Which, I mean, I hope, my playthrough of this is not terribly boring in terms of what I'm doing, them having no offense at all, but I think without knowing, because if I do, yeah, see, it is that button. Maybe it is the timing window. But then when is the timing window? Is it when the move hits, or is it when they send their command to their sprite? I don't know. Again, it's probably something that I'd have to look up. I'd probably see. He's doing it all the time, but I would have already sent the command then. How do I work that out then? I mean, it also might be because I hope certain people don't bite me for this, but maybe it's because it's an emulator. Maybe that's why as well. Maybe that's got something to do with the fact that maybe the button system. It might also be the controller I'm using. It's not exactly an expensive controller. It's one of the Storm ones that I got for the sole purpose of just it being able to be universal and use it across. I used to use, years ago, I used to use a wired Xbox controller. But, one, I don't know where that one is at the moment. And you can't use with the 360 controllers, you can't, the ones where you used to plug the power pack in, you actually can't use those ones because, and I did test this theory earlier, if you plug it in, obviously it being a USB attachment, you plug it in, but of course it's still recognised as your Xbox 360. So it just turns your Xbox 360 on, because of course that's when wireless and stuff started to happen as a thing. So you plug it in, the controller turns on, and because it's recognised, your Xbox turns on, so it doesn't actually notice that you plugged it into a laptop. It actually doesn't know that you've done that. Which is the reason why I got a completely third-party, not attached to anything, controller. But like I said, it was cheap. It's not high quality. So I do wonder if that might be a factor into me not being able to reverse as well. I mean, I suppose if I don't have two of them, if I was able to have two of them and just practice, I suppose. Look at these spirit levels got quite high. It's probably because it's reversals. It's going to do it again now, isn't he? Yeah, thought so. Yeah, I wonder if because the thing is that if I look up the controls, it's not going to be anything different to what I remember. I do think I'm definitely remembering this right. It's definitely the R button as well, in terms of doing this type of reversals that he's doing. But I don't think controllers like this, because you have to map the buttons, I'm not entirely sure if it recognises it as being two things. Because this obviously, there you go, this is picking him up. Would it recognise that it also does something else? Or, as I was saying a second ago, am I just talking a bunch of rubbish and my timing in the window of when I can do reverses is just incredibly crap? And I've completely forgotten where the timing window is supposed to be. That is... ow. No! That's it. There we go, off he goes. Right, I need to do some taunting because I need to raise my spirit level, and his needs to go down, which if you do taunt whilst they're outside the ring, which was, I think, a cross-platform thing that happened in all the games, if they're outside the ring and you're taunting, their spirit level, I think, goes down. God, it's been such a long time since I've played this game. It really is bringing back a lot of very, very good memories where I spent... Where'd this... oh dear. Come on, there we go. So it is that button. I don't know where the window is. They also had, now I remember this as well, they had a thing where if you couldn't just tap the R button because the system knew that you were doing that. So it would almost cancel it out in a way. If you were trying to reverse just by tapping all the time, it recognised that you were doing that. Very clever, because that way, if you're just tapping all the time, you just reverse everything. That wouldn't be very entertaining at all. Well, especially for the player. Right, here we go. In you come, Booker T. It's diamond colour time. Come on, there we go. Right, in you come. There we go. Feel the bang, Booker T. We are going to do it again because you're going to stand up. Oh no, he hasn't. Oh, okay. Right, let's try again. Boom. I've actually been looking at the times of my matches either. 5:12. This has got to be one of the longest. There we go, Booker T. 3 count all. Well done, DDP. Right, now surely, now how many is that now? Surely, there we go. This means that it's Kurt Hennig. It is now for the United States Heavyweight Championship. The championship chase, here he comes. Of all the belts that graphically all looked exactly the same. And ironically, in a WCW game, they all looked very similar to the IC title in the WWF at the time, which is interesting when you think about it. All the titles looked the same, and they actually didn't look like a WCW title at all. They looked like a WWF Championship. Now I don't know if this is going to be that. No, he's not. Right, he's going to reverse a lot, I think, though. That's what's going to be the difficulty, because Booker T was quite relentless in that. I also can't remember. See, that's not the time window either. I mean, he must have been at the time. Now, what was this? Yeah, 1998. I wonder if it was Kurt Hennig United States champion at that time? Probably. Yeah, he probably was. Does this actually unlock the WCW Heavyweight Championship though? Because that's going to be Hogan, I'm pretty sure. Or Ric Flair, probably. Or would it be... no. Would it be Kevin Nash? Maybe. Possibly. It's going to be Flair or Hogan. But I don't know if just doing this one is actually going to unlock it, because this is the secondary title. I mean, I don't see how going through the Tag Team Championships one is going to unlock the WCW Championship. And I wouldn't have thought the Cruiserweight, unless you have to do all of them. Maybe that's why they were darked out. Like I say, it's been, I mean, years, you know, since I've played this. I don't remember half the things. I wonder if it is a case... that would look like a reversal. It's maybe you've got to do all of them, and then you get the WCW one. Because things like, I mean, bear in mind at this time, at this point in time, they didn't have a hardcore championship. As far as I remember, that came in a lot later. Oh wait, hang on, I just remembered as well. Feel the bang. The television championship wasn't on there either. Because they had the WCW championship, they had the United States championship, they had the Cruiserweight, and they had the television championship. That one wasn't on there either, was it? It was only the three. Tag team, this one, and Cruiserweight. Interesting. We'll have to see when we finish this. If we finish, if I win. I mean, I'm preempting the fact that I'm actually going to win, which I do think that I am. But oh, I have to keep remembering that Strong Grapple A up is Schoolboy Pin. We don't want to do that yet. We're probably going to have to do at least, well, two more, because he'll stand up. 2 more Diamond Cutters before actually being able to win. Right, let's time this. Ready? Timing! That was always a very good thing to have in Rumble matches and stuff like Battle Royals, which I think this game called it a Battle Royal. If they're on the outside of the ring, standing on the apron like that, timing your strong punches was vital to eliminations. Also, if you time it incredibly correctly, to the point where they're standing close enough to the rope but don't fall out of it, they do just backflip over the top rope, which was something that I used to do in No Mercy, I remember, when you were going through the survival mode, because that's how you unlocked people. You went through the survival mode, and if you had a character come out, a particular wrestler come out who wasn't unlocked yet or not on the character screen yet, by eliminating them in the survival mode or the rumble mode, that's how you unlocked them, and then they appeared on the character screen. So timing your strong punches to certain points was a very useful thing to do in this system, because you could, if you got everybody else out, all the other 3 people that were standing in the ring, because bear in mind this was only capable at the time of sustaining 4 people at the ring at one time, you could get down to the fact that you were just the guy waiting in the ring for that who they came out. And when they got into the ring, after coming down the entranceway, they were at the perfect distance away from the ropes to be able to do that whole strong punch thing where they would just backflip out straight away. It's just going to be a 1, 2, and DDP is your new United States champion on a championship chase. Now, I'm sure we'll wind it up after this, and we'll obviously see him wearing the belt in the ring, if I remember that rightly as well. I don't know how many Mandela effects are going to be in my memory of what happens in these. I think he just sat in the ring with it after this bit, of course, or does he? Yeah, I thought as much. I'm sure it would be a lot more enjoyable if I was able to remember a lot more of the controls, and I was using a better controller. But this does bring back a lot of good memories, and I certainly am going to be... Oh, so yeah, that was 9 matches. I don't remember it being 9. I think in my mind I thought like 6, maybe? I don't remember it being 9. Rank in 76,405 points. Like I said, I'm sure. Let's put C A and then end, because we just want. There we go. Okay, yeah, all the actual. I mean, this is the first time I've turned this game on, so that's obviously all the developer scores. But on top of the leaderboard, 74,000 points apparently. Oh, so does that mean the Kurt Hennig was not on the character selection screen? So all of the characters that are champions are not, because they were all darked out. I don't remember that. I remember this. I do remember the credits. What was I saying? Yeah, I'm sure. Like as I play through more old school N64 games, I'm sure I'll get better acquainted with the controls and stuff. And again, I'm not sure what the difference was between that reverse thing and the pick them up. I think it's because it's two things. No, do you know what? It's not going to be doing two things at the same time. It's going to be the timing window. Working at the timing window again. I'm sure it'll be much more enjoyable once I get more acquainted with the games again, but I mean, like I said, I remember this. It brings back so many good memories. I mean, this is when games... Nowadays, I think, now I'm not saying overly lazy, but I think because there's so many games released all of the time now, you're swamped. You're swamped with what's coming out and the rate at which games come out. When you've got a game on the N64 or PlayStation or anything like that, even Xbox 360 and PS2 to an extent, you had time to enjoy them, and this does bring back a lot of good memories. Let's skip the credits and go back to the main screen. I do want to have a quick look just to see if certain people are not on the character select screen, because I don't remember them not being there completely. Let's just have a look. Right, so we have got Hogan. Giant. So he is down there now, but was he not before? Right, hang on. Let's have a quick look at who might be the guys standing with the championships. That is definitely Billy Kidman. And that looks like Meng and the Barbarian? Oh, it's Roddy Piper. Right, so we are checking for Kidman, who apparently isn't there, who I think is Meng and the Barbarian, and Rowdy Roddy Piper. When was Rowdy Roddy Piper the world champion? It's by the by, right. Let's have a quick look. So, oh, so Kidman is not there, because he was in Raven's Flock. So the champions aren't there, which seems a little odd to me, given the fact that... Oh no, it was Van Hammer, sorry, I faced earlier. Kidman you'd think would be one, who would already be there, rather than certain others. What I might do is I'll probably do Jericho as a cruiserweight, because I remember what a brilliant story there was when he was in a feud with Dean Malenko over the Cruiserweight Championship, and there was this brilliant vignette of him going around and talking to people. It was hilarious. I do remember that. These guys, I think, were supposed to be, well, they're fictional, but I think they were supposed to represent other people from different promotions. Not that I'm going to go through and remember who they were. That's very sensitive. I'll have to change that, because that's very irritating as well. If I want to pick a different uniform. And what if I need the button? Anyway, we will stop it there because I'm not sure how long that has been. But we'll do another one. We'll do WrestleMania 2000 next. And hopefully this will give a bit of nostalgia for some people. Catch you later.